This is Kerrigan & Company. You know, folks, I've known the College Hype team for more than 20 years. They're a local screen print and embroidery company servicing the New England area and beyond. Now, what makes the team so special is that they have more than 35 years of experience and they do all the work in-house. I love their tagline, making a difference one t-shirt at a time. Speaking from experience, I know that is the truth. Learn more at collegehype.com. Hi, everybody. It's me, Kim. Coming up on this edition of Kerrigan & Company, it's all about hockey. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. It's so good to have you with us for this episode, and we've got a great episode on tap. If you love hockey, this is a great episode for you, but there's a whole lot more for you as well. And I know you're going to recognize who's keeping me company today. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Marty Walsh. So listen, tell me a little bit about how the new job is going.
You know, for the last year and a half to almost 2 years, really, you know, working on behalf of the players, working on behalf of fans, too, to grow the game of hockey. So a little bit of all that. So it's been pretty awesome.
It is. It's so great. I when we heard the news that you were going to do it, it was just such a kick for all of us.
Never expected it. Like, I never expected it.
Those are the best. Isn't that the best?
I mean, I wanted to be mayor of Boston. You know what I mean? And I wasn't expecting President Biden to call me 7 years later to be his labor secretary, and certainly wasn't thinking that I was going to go work for as the head of the NHL PA. So I watched a ton of games with the Bruins, the guys all over the place. And it's wild. It's wild.
Well, you know, the crazy thing about that, too, I think, and you tell me, but if I would have said Marty's going to go somewhere, maybe I would have seen you maybe in another political role somewhere. But I think what is amazing about it is that, yes, you're a labor guy, and yes, certainly you've got some administrative experience, but you never played hockey, not ice hockey.
No ice hockey. As a kid, I was sick as a kid. I had cancer. But my neighborhood where I grew up, a lot of us didn't play ice hockey, couldn't afford it. Yeah. You know, from Dorchester, my part of Dorchester, we didn't play ice hockey. Some kids did. And then the other part of Dorchester, in the Ponce, Cedar Grove area, a lot of kids played hockey. Kids went on to the pros. We did have some great hockey players in our area, too, but I never did. Played a lot of street hockey, a lot of gym hockey, a lot of, you know, the Bruins and hockey was our sport growing up, watching it, but never played it.
So is it, you know, you were a labor negotiator, you were a labor guy. Now you're doing, you know, now the PA. Is labor? It's just depending on what. Okay.
No, it's not.
So this is different, right?
It's a little different. You know, when I was being interviewed with the players, they were really focused on growing the game of hockey and the business aspect of it, whether it was international hockey or growing opportunities for players, things like that. And then there's also a negotiating side. There's an arbitration side. There's all of that as well, the union side of it. And when I started working in the office, you know, you think about the office. We have the benefit office where we offer the health care and pension, things like that. And then we have the business side of the office that does the business growth of hockey. So it really is, it's a little different, but it's a unique job. So it's kind of like me. It's kind of like best of all my worlds. So when I ran the building trades, it was the union side. When I was mayor of Boston, it was the growth side. So it was kind of all of them came together in one opportunity, which is pretty awesome.
You've done some crazy good stuff for the players already. When you first stepped in 23, one of the big things I know was that, number one, they wanted to get back to the Olympics, and they wanted to be a part of the World Cup. And the result of that is, number one, you've got them back in the Olympics. So 26, they're going to be back, NHL players, which I think is really an important thing for those guys. Yeah, really awesome. And really cool, this week it's all starting, this Four Nations kind of, you know, round robin play, which is a substitute, right, at this point, sort of, for the World Cup?
It's kind of an entry.
Okay, so talk us through this.
Yeah, so the greatest thing I did in this job was, when I was going for the job real quickly, Ron Hainsey, who was played in the NHL for almost 2 decades, from Connecticut, was kind of running the search for the players. And when I got the job, I asked Ron if he'd stay on. So Ron is the assistant executive director. So we work well together. He's a former player. So, you know, when you think about a team and you think about moving forward, he has the experience of being on the ice, has the relationships with the players. He retired right during COVID. So he's respected by players, and I have, the negotiation side of it and the business, working a little bit in the business side of it. So we're working together as a team. So what we decided to do, one of the first things we decided to do was, how do we get the players back into the Olympics? And we had a conversation with Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the National Hockey League, and Bill Daly, and we started beginning this dialogue because the players really wanted to get in, and we got some momentum right away. So we worked collectively together with the NHL and the Players Association, and we sat down with the IIHF, which is an International Hockey Federation, and we negotiated an agreement to get the NHL players back in the 2026 and 2030 Olympic Games. So we have 2 Olympics that we're working on. Then we started talking about World Cup of Hockey. And the World Cup of Hockey has not been consistent. It's been kind of, every 10, 12, 20 years there's a tournament, and, fans love it, and hockey players love it, representing their country, aside from the Olympics. So we started to talk about having World Cup in 2028 and 2032, which was still negotiating that deal. But we needed to get something to start us off. And we decided we didn't have enough time for right now to do a full World Cup of Hockey. So we decided we settled on 4 countries, United States, Canada, Finland, Sweden, and do what's called the Four Nations Tournament in Montreal. We were deciding, we were working with the league where to put it. We were looking at different places to put it, and we ultimately decided on Montreal and Boston. It's going to start. It's starting this week, coming up, and it's exciting. The players are excited about it. They get a chance to. The difference here, the players, obviously love playing for their teams and love playing for their cities, but I think when it comes to these kids, these young players that grew up watching these national teams play in national tournaments, international tournaments, they want to wear their country on.
Sure, absolutely.
And they have an opportunity. So it's the first time a lot of these players have ever worn as NHL players, their country, representing their country. They've done it in the minors, and they've done it when they're juniors, but they haven't done it as pros, so it's exciting.
Absolutely. Going back to the Olympics for just a brief second, you had some pushback, though, right, from owners, right? That was the big part of the problem, right?
In the past, but what we tried to do was explain to everybody that this is about growth of the game of hockey. So it's a win-win for everyone. It gets the players who want to represent their countries playing in the Olympics, the fans who want to see best-on-best competition in hockey, seeing all these NHL players playing in the Olympics. But it also is growth of the game.
Sure.
And it's going to create opportunities for laying out a consistent schedule every couple of years, international hockey, best-on-best, they call it. We will have an opportunity for people to get new fans around the world, the United States, Canada, and around the world, to watch this, because they're gonna tune in and watch this international tournament.
Yeah, it's really fun. What's the biggest challenge as the...
the biggest challenge was just getting with the Four Nations was the time. The time was the challenge because we didn't have a lot of time to do it, but it's come together incredibly. Rob Zepp is leading it from the players' side, from the PA side. Dave Proper and Lynn and other folks at the league are handling it from the league side. And the beauty is we're not. It's not 2 sides. We're one team moving forward for the, I just got the briefing the other day for all the important phone numbers for the week, and we're all on the same page.
Good.
And I think that's something that's important that hasn't necessarily always happened in the past.
Yeah, that's going to be a great thing for the fans. It's really a cool thing. Let's change gears just a bit. Obviously, you were the labor secretary.
Yeah.
That to me just feels like that was like a flash too. That just
it was a flash though. It was amazing.
What's something that people don't know about that, Marty? Like when you're in the cabinet.
Everyone in the cabinet, most people in the cabinet are regular people. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting in cabinet meetings with Tom Vilsack, former mayor in Iowa, former governor of Iowa, and just a brilliant man.
Yeah.
We're sitting with Jenny Granholm, former governor of Michigan, Gina Raimondo, former governor of Rhode Island. But all these people just want to, and Pete Buttigieg, former mayor, who I serve with as mayor, they just want to do the right thing. They want to help the American people. And it's amazing because when you think about the United States and you think about the cabinet meeting, you're sitting with the president and the vice president. You're sitting with everyone who is in leadership in the government. And it's just about helping the average American person, which is really amazing to be part of.
What would happen? I'm always curious when you go back to your offices. How much interaction did you have with all the people there? As secretary?
You have a lot.
Do you?
So the way they call it, they have political people which come in with the administration, and then most of the people are career people. So when you think about continuity in government, it's the career people that keep the continuity going. So regardless who the president is, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't really matter as far as the career people go, because they've given, that's their job.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate today, and I know we're not going to talk politics, but we've turned the career into politics, which isn't the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I might give a direction, but if the career people don't like the direction, they have every opportunity to push back on me on certain things, but they're going to keep the government going, and after I'm gone, they're there.
Sure.
So it really is, it's amazing to see the hard work and dedicated of the federal employees.
You felt really strongly about being the mayor of Boston. I know that. You and I have talked about that on numerous occasions, and I know it was, I'm not going to say it was your favorite job. I'd let you say that.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of your favorites.
You miss it. You know, it was a great job. It's an amazing job.
Yeah. Are you happy, though, that you answered the call from the president?
Yeah, you know, you have to answer the call.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say no. You know, it's funny. I was labor secretary. I was in Washington, probably about 3 months into my job, and I was really missing being mayor. Mm-hmm. And I called Anthony Fox, who was the transportation secretary under President Obama, and I said, he was a former mayor, and I said to him, "How long did it take you to get the mayor out of your system?" And he said, 2 years. And I'm like, oh my God, 2 years. And then I was talking to Mark Muriel, who's the head of the National Urban League. He was a former mayor in New Orleans 20 years ago. And I asked him, how long did it take you to get the mayor out of your system? He goes, I haven't. So I think you know, it's one of those jobs when you're the mayor that it's not about, I say this a lot, it's not about the big things you do. It's about being accessible to people and helping people.
Yeah.
You know, I did a winter walk yesterday with Paul English on Boston Common. And like, you know, I feel like when I was mayor, the homeless community, they were my people. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I knew them by name, and I walked around a lot and talked to people, and you're trying to help somebody get off the street, and sometimes they don't want to be helped off the street. So what you try to do is create programs and services around them that when they're ready to do it, they do it. Yeah. So I miss that type of stuff, helping people on the streets and just, you know, development and growing the city of Boston and all that.
Well,
stuff.
I always felt like you were a mayor who was pretty hands-on. So, you know, you saw what you were doing make a difference for people. And I think
everyone
that
had my
makes
cell phone. I mean, I would talk to the president of a bank, and I would talk to somebody from a community group. And, you know, and everyone got treated the same. They still do. They get treated the same by me. It's like, you know, it's just really important to be able to be accessible to people.
Yeah. All right. We have much more to talk about. But we have some really great guests today. I think you're aware that Bob Sweeney, who I know is somebody that you are very fond of, runs the Bruins Foundation. He's going to join us here in a minute. And then we're going to wrap the show up today with Kevin Stevens.
Yeah, great man. Powerful example for so many people.
Yeah, he really is. A guy who was a fabulous hockey player and certainly had so many accolades, including 2 Stanley Cups, which is amazing, and some amazing friends around him, and yet slipped into an addiction situation that took a big part of his life away. You're a guy who has struggled with addiction, a different kind, but you've struggled with it. To this day, is that still a part of your life?
Oh God, yeah. I'm active in, and not as active as I should be. I'm active in the recovery community. It's a day at a time. I mean, you have to. When you have the disease of alcoholism or substance use disorder, it's a day at a time recovery, and you need to treat it every day. You need to make sure that you stay connected to people in the program. You need to make sure you keep your mind in a good space, because if you let it slip, you slip back. You forget about the disaster that booze or drugs caused you, and you can never let that happen.
You have been sober for a long time. How many years, Marty?
Almost 30.
Wow! Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
That's really fantastic. Are there days? Are there situations that you're in?
No, you know, you'll see somebody have a drink maybe on the beach, and you'll smell it. You're like, oh, it smells good, but you work through it. You realize that if you pick up that drink, what the consequences are, and you got to remember what the consequences are. You know, some people can have a drink, order a beer and have a drink, or order a wine and drink it, and not finish it, and not have a drink another one for months. That's not me. And you know, and Kevin later on will explain to us too that that's not him. Yeah. And I think that you have to, you know, it's a disease, and I think It's good to see so many more people are talking about substance use disorder and alcoholism as a disease, and it's front and center now. Before, no one would talk about it. It was like you're embarrassed to talk about it, but I think it's important to talk about it so people see that there's hope and there's a life after drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. Marty Walsh is with me today. We're going to continue our conversation on the other side here. Bob Sweeney from the Bruins Foundation is going to join us. Stay with us, everybody. This is Kerrigan and Company. You know, folks, I've known the College Hype team for more than 20 years. They're a local screen print and embroidery company servicing the New England area and beyond. Now, what makes the team so special is that they have more than 35 years of experience and they do all the work in-house. I love their tagline, making a difference one T-shirt at a time. Speaking from experience, I know that is the truth. Learn more at collegehype.com. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. Great to have you with us today. And, of course, keeping me company today is Marty Walsh, a guy all of us recognize. And it's been fun so far. It's good to have you.
It's great to be here with you, Kim, again today. I love it.
I love the fact that you said earlier, it's so good to be on this side of the mic with me versus, maybe sitting across the table.
Yeah, everyone watching, Kim used to chase me around and ask me these hard-hitting questions when I was the mayor. I'm like, oh, man.
It's good to have you here keeping me company for sure. And we're going to have some hard-hitting questions for our next guest, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Joining us now as part of this conversation, and we're so happy he could be with us, is the president of the Boston Bruins Foundation. This is Bob Sweeney. Bob, good to see you.
Everybody.
It's great to see you. For people who maybe don't know, because there may be some people out there who don't know about the foundation, tell everybody what the mission of the foundation is. 20 years, right?
We just had a big major event, and one of our main pillars is helping out first responders. So we had over 2,000 friends and families of first responders with first responders climb the steps and the stairwells of the TD Garden. Just an amazing event that raised over $1.2 million for all their different charities, whether it's the 100 Club, the PFFM, to name a few, 22 Mohawks, Tunnels to Tower. It was a great event. I actually did it myself, Marty. Went all the way up to the 22nd floor. I was sore for a week.
Wow.
But I had to do it.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it. I was busy that day.
I'm busy at home laying on my couch. I could not get up there. Listen, I was watching that. I thought that was so spectacular. It was amazing how many people participated. I'm going to ask both of you this question because I think both of you can answer this. But why do you think it's so important for, teams like the Bruins and obviously all of the NHL franchises? Why is it important for them to have these kinds of foundations and be involved in the community?
Let me just start here. I want to just give Bob a lot of credit.
Sure.
I mean, Bob is an amazing guy, very humble guy. I'm speaking like he's not here, but anytime when I was the mayor of Boston, or even now my new role, if I call him about an organization, charity, he's the first to help.
Yeah.
The Bruins Foundation, led by Bob, does so many great things in our community, all across Boston, all across the region. Helping young people. They have an amazing event at the Garden during Thanksgiving, feeding homeless people, raising money. He turned the 100th anniversary celebration of the Bruins into really a giving opportunity for people to support the foundation. So it's important to have the Bruins get back to the community. I mean, the sports team in Boston are good.
Yeah.
The Bruins, in a lot of ways lead the way because they're so engaged, not just financially, but they open the Garden up for the climb. They serve food around Thanksgiving. During the season, they're in our public schools. Charlie Jacobs was playing. Me and Charlie were playing hockey one day a couple of years ago in one of our schools. So there's a lot of great things happening with the Bruins Foundation, giving back to the community and giving back to Boston. The Bruins are such a big part of our neighborhood, our city,
Absolutely.
and our region. But they give back on the other side. The players give back too, which is amazing.
Bob, I think Marty said a lot, but, obviously you have your reasons why you're involved.
Yeah, well, thank you, Marty. Well, I think, as a former player, we were taught what it meant to be a Bruin on and off the ice. And it started with guys like Johnny Busick and went to Ray Bourque, to Rick Middleton, to Cam Neely, to Zdeno Chara, to Patrice Bergeron, now to Brad Marchand. I think it's part of being a Bruin. There was no foundation when I got to the Bruins, there was no CR department. It was basically, Johnny Busick telling you, hey, we need you to go to Children's Hospital. We need you to go here. And then, Ray Bork came up with this idea about buying gifts for kids in the hospitals, and then the players delivering them. And that evolved into when the foundation was started in the early 2000s to the foundation matching the money that the players put in every year. And we still continue that tradition. It's a great way to give back to some of these kids that might not be able to get home for the holidays.
I love that. Yeah, that's such an important. I think some of these athletes really do have an understanding of what an impact that has. When a player walks into a hospital room and kids are there, that's just that's an amazing thing, and it really pushes them toward their recovery. Really, the foundation focuses a lot on health and wellness, right? So, when was that always adopted that way, or is that something kind of new?
Yeah, health and to be honest with you, when we first started, we were kind of all over the place. We did an external audit about 8 years ago, and they described our giving as confetti, which was, just everywhere. So we tried to narrow our focus, work a lot with, growing the game of hockey that Marty knows very well, health and wellness, athletics, and overall community giving. And it's really gone well. I mean, we have a core partner, a major partner with Special Olympics, who a few years back, we granted them $1 million. We're starting to redo different facilities in the city of Boston, going into like the North End and renovating a street hockey basketball facility so we can update it so the kids can continue to get outside and run around and burn some energy off. As we all know, that's very important. The kids need their time in school, but they also need to get out and stay active. So that's a big thing we're focusing on now. As Marty said, we do a lot in the schools with our school assembly program run by Johnny Whitesides. And it's really gone well, and we're looking to expand on that.
Bob, I ask you this, and please take me the right way. Is it important for the team to be doing well for your organization to raise money? Or do you find that ebbs and flows? Or do we just have a hardcore hockey group out there who doesn't really care? They just love the game and the team.
If you go to the finals or you win a Stanley Cup, I think, your opportunity to give back because of the long playoff run is going to enhance tremendously. You're going to raise more money in like 50-50s and in-game fundraising. But yeah, it does. But that doesn't dictate how we run our business. And regardless what happens on the ice, we're in the community doing our stuff, and we always will be doing that.
Yeah, and I think when the players go to hospitals, things like that, the kids aren't really concerned about the standings. Yeah. They're just happy to see their hero come through the door. And when I was a kid,
I think they like Blades, Marty, right?
Yeah, they love Blades. They love Blades. And I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I was 7 years old. I had cancer, and Bobby Orr came to the hospital, and so it goes all the way back to Bobby Orr.
Sure.
And you hear the stories of Bobby Orr and other players dressing up at Halloween and going there at Christmas time. And a few players from the Bruins have reached out to me over the years to say we want to get more engaged, aside from what the team does too. So the players really do get back, and it does help the player as well. I mean, you got to think about this. Bob was a player once, and these young guys coming out of college, some of them coming out of the minors, and they're learning as they grow up, and they get exposed to opportunities that average people don't get exposed to, and that's going into different places, serving food, going to hospitals, things like that. And then, as Bob mentioned, players use their own money in a lot of ways. So it's like they're giving back to the community too. So it's great to see that happening in anywhere, to be quite honest with you.
Sure. Let me ask you about the reaction from the fans. Now, look, both of you, obviously, Bob, you work for the Bruins Foundation, and you are from Boston. But to me, it feels like Bruins fans are rabid. They're the best fans around. Now, you see a lot of fans, I know. But what do you think, Bob? You played for a couple of teams. You know. What do you think about these Bruins fans?
Our hardcore, loyal, dedicated fans are the hardworking people of New England. And I think that's always been the way when I was playing, when Marty just said, watching Bobby Orr and those guys. We all same way. I was as a kid as well. That was amazing what they did for hockey and, the growth of the game. I mean, so many MDC rinks came up after the Bruins won the Stanley Cup. So, yeah, I think they are very loyal, passionate, dedicated fans.
How do they compare?
No, they are. I mean, it's funny. When I started this job at the Players Association, I would always refer to the Boston and the Bruins as we. And I represent everybody now. But no, there's no question about it. I mean, the Bruins fans, they always have been very, very passionate about their team. They know who's down in Providence. They know who's coming up next. They know who the players are. They know who was traded, who left. They know all that. And it's great. It's like I said, it's such a big fabric of our city, and I think it's still the case. When the Bruins won the Cup in 2011, the Patriots had won a couple Super Bowls, the Red Sox had won a couple World Series, Celtics had won a championship, and I think the Bruins still have the largest parade ever. So when you think about the fans in the city and the region that came out to celebrate the Bruins, that says a lot too, because they come out, kids and fathers bring their kids, because like Bob said, the fathers grew up following whoever it was, and now their kids are there.
Sure.
And they're gonna someday take their kids in town and say, I was watching, Charlie McAvoy, I was watching Brad Marchand, I was watching, Johnny Beecher and these guys playing in the Boston Garden.
Yeah, it's a great tradition. It really is, and I love it so much. Bob, anything you want to say about something coming up? Any events you want to promote that the foundation's going to be involved in?
I think everybody in the hockey world, the four nations. I believe Marty will be in Montreal probably starting the next few days. That's where this tournament happens. And, here in Boston, when they come back for a couple games on next Monday and Thursday for the final, we'll be supporting through the NHL and the NHL PA, this ALS Super Fund, which has an amazing research center here in Boston, and the Spalding sled hockey team. And they'll be, as Marty can touch on a little bit more, it's going to be a great week. There's a big dinner for Christopher Reeves Foundation that a lot of us will be involved with, and the USA Canada sled hockey teams are going to be competing as well. So should be a great week. I think the players are all looking forward to it, and I'm sure Marty and Gary Bettman are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be fun. We're going to talk more about that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, great to see you. Thank you so much. Continued success.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Good seeing you, bud.
This is Kerrigan & Company. I have great news to share. Lucia Lighting and Design has extended its annual Red Tag sale through the end of February. Head to Lucia Lighting and Design at 311 Western Avenue in Lynn before the end of February for the best deals of the year. Lucia has hundreds of items with red sale tags on them, and that means 50% off. These are beautiful, one-of-a-kind display pieces at incredible prices. Don't wait. Get to Lucia Lighting and Design before the end of February for their extended Red Tag sale. Learn more about my favorite lighting and design store at lucialighting.com.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spiced, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. It's so good to have you with us on this episode, and I am so thrilled with my co-host today. Marty Walsh is with me, and he's a man who is very, very busy. So pinning you down for this has been a real challenge. It's sort of like chasing a hockey puck on ice for me. But I was able to corral you, and I'm so glad that I finally did, and it's a lot of fun to have you here.
It's great to be here, and sorry, it was hard to get me, but when I heard that the next guy who's next to me is coming on, I'm like, oh, I want to be there for that.
I know.
Absolutely. I remember watching him play. I was like, oh, God.
Well, it is a treat to have him here today. First off, a Hall of Famer. How about that? In just recent weeks, by the way, a two-time Stanley Cup winner, and he is a former Boston Bruin as well. And it is so great to have Kevin Stevens with us. And hello, sir.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That just happened in December.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I was the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. It was good. It was I don't know. I was kind of, I played my last game in 2000, and it was kind of 24 years. I thought I timed out of that thing, but I guess I got a late call last year, and I was lucky enough to get inducted in the U.S. Hall of Fame, and it was great. It was in Pittsburgh, and it was kind of where I played most of my career. So it was a good night, and I got to see a lot of friends. So it was nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Not everybody can say that kind of thing happens to them in their lifetime, 24 years later or not.
Yeah, But you deserve to be in there, Kev. You were quite an amazing player for so many years, and you're an amazing role model for a lot of people. So
thanks.
It's well
Marty.
deserved.
Yeah, thanks. I was so lucky to play in Pittsburgh. It was. I played with some great players. Like when I talked about it, I started out with Johnny Cullen, who was at BU. Then I went from Ronnie Francis to Mario. Those are my centermen. And I was the they call it power forward, whatever. But it really has to do with the guys I play with, the centermen I played with, and the teams. I was so fortunate to play on those teams in Pittsburgh, and it was just so much fun. I had great teams and great guys, and the whole thing. For the win, as Marty knows, to win a Stanley Cup, it takes 2 months of coming together, and really very fortunate to play there in Pittsburgh. It was great.
Do you think your team? I was watching some of the highlights the other day. Do you think it's one of the best ever?
Yeah, you know what's funny, Marty? We won 91, 92. 93 was our best team, and we lost. We were going for the three-peat, and I think we won 17, 18 games in a row that year, and that's when the overtimes were just 5 minutes, and it was ended. There was no. So we won 18 games, 17, 18 games in a row. That team was the best team that I've ever played on, and that was one of the best assembled teams ever. That's when Yaga was his third year, and he was kind of coming into his own. And obviously with Mario there, and Francis, and Tocchet, and Barrasso. There's so many. Joey Mullen, Trottier.
Yeah. Nice.
The team was like, it was so crazy. But we had some good teams back then.
I was watching it the other day. I saw the video. Kevin did a video about his life, and they were interviewing the players on the team, and I'm like, oh my god! This
just kept lining them up.
Two of these players are going to be good. Never mind all of them. It was just crazy. It was great to see that.
Yeah, it was. It was great guys and great teammates, and it was just one of those situations where you kind of. I got drafted by LA, but I got traded to Pittsburgh when I was at BC, and it just seemed to work out, and I was so lucky to get there to Pittsburgh and play with those guys.
Well, I think anybody who's listening who's a hockey fan knows a lot about your history. I mean, you're a local guy, went to BC, you left here to go out into the big bad world, but did certainly come back and live here now. And, we talk about the fact that it was 25 years ago was your last game, but you've lived another life since then. And that one has been the one. The first one, there's a lot of accolades, but this one I think is probably bringing on just about as many accolades, maybe for different reasons. So, Kevin, instead of me telling your story, in a synopsis, give us a sense of what happened to you as a hockey player.
Well, it kind of came full circle. I had won 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and we're going for our 3rd Stanley Cup. And I talk about like choices and decisions and what kind of happened. I made. My life, I was a first-team All-Star. We were winning Stanley Cups. I was playing left wing with Mario Lemieux. Like, my life was pretty good. Like, if you wanted someone's life as a hockey player, you probably wanted mine. But it was a night in New York City, and I made it like a 20 or 30-second decision one night. Someone now that I know it was cocaine, they put something in front of me, which I never knew anything about drugs, never did anything. And I decided that night I made a 20-second decision to try this cocaine. And from that point on, the next 24 years of my life changed. But it didn't change that right away. It was a lot of pain and a lot of suffering through that. But I made that night, if I didn't make that choice, I might not be sitting here today. I made a choice and a decision that night to try cocaine, not knowing that I had that addictive gene. I had no idea what addiction was. I knew nothing about anything. I just thought I'd jump on the bus the next day and things would be the same. And things changed gradually. But that night was a turning point in my life for a long time, and that's what happened. I just I just made it. Like, I talk to people now. I made a decision. My choice. It was my choice. I made a choice that night to do it, and it changed my life for a long time.
You had a terrible injury on the ice shortly thereafter, and ended up on painkillers that we frequently find. You and I had this conversation off the air, and Marty, I think you can certainly attest to this. As mayor, you watch this happen so frequently in our city, and we all see it. And that's just individuals who are being medicated for injury purposes, and we worry so much about our young people and young athletes who get medicated for injury purposes, and then ultimately cannot kick that. It becomes so dictating in their life, and that's really what happened to you.
Yeah, I got, like I said, I got hurt 2 months after I tried the cocaine. I kind of opened up those can of worms already. So then I got hurt. I broke all the bones in my face when I hit a guy, and then the pain medication. I obviously had to take pain. I was in the hospital a couple of months. I had a lot of surgeries on my face, and that's when the pain medication kicked in. But it's kind of funny because the pain medication when I was playing wasn't a big part of it. The cocaine was a big part of it. Then when I retired, I hurt my neck again, and someone gave me the pain medication. That's in a gym, and that's when I kind of went on a 12-year opiate addiction run. Like it was just crazy. And like you said, I got doctors that give me prescription. I got the whole thing, but then after a while, all that runs out, and you're stuck, right? Now you're kind of like, now what am I going to do? And I just had to keep that going for a long time till I was able to get sober. But it took a long time. The pain medication was very hard to get off, very hard thing to conquer, I'll tell you that much.
I've heard you say, and Marty, you and I probably watched the same film about his life, and you're very candid, and we're going to talk about how you've taken this another step. But before we do, you talk about in that how it dictated your life. And I think people don't frequently understand that someone like you, who the world would like to be you at one point, and then the next thing you know, you're on the street chasing down individuals to try to find drugs.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it all happened, because it doesn't pick and choose who this disease affects, right? So it's kind of, we all know that, and we see different people, but when you're affected and your brain thinks like my brain thinks, and you medicate yourself with pain medication, that was my number one thing every day for 12 years. Now, obviously, I want to take care of my family. I want to do all the things that I thought I was doing okay with, and I thought, I was doing the best I could do. But you have to, when you're stuck on pain medication and pain pills and opiates, that's runs your life. There's no other way to look about it. Now that I look back with being sober the amount of time I have, you just kind of like shake your head. But that's what ran my life for 15 years, and it took my hockey career, it took my family. It just keeps taking till you stop. If you got $10 million, you got $10. It's going to take it all till you put the brakes on this thing.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. I mean, hear Kevin's story. There's no, addiction, substance use disorder. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be. People equate to a homeless person that they're an alcoholic drug addict. But no, it's Kevin Stevens, who is amazing, one of the best hockey players of his era. It's other people. It's just as Kevin says, it's a disease of progression. You start with Coke, you start with a beer. My story is alcohol, but you start with alcohol, with 1 beer, 2 beers, and you don't realize it, but over time, you become dependent upon it.
Yeah.
And people around you see it, but you don't see it as an individual.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean? And what Kevin's accomplished in his life, a day at a time, and still every day, you have to work at this every day. It's just been remarkable to become such a strong, powerful example. And I think, I'll say this to somebody in recovery, long-term recovery, his ability to play hockey and his ability to be a hero and a star for people was amazing. What he's done the last 12 years just wipes out what he did in hockey.
Right, I couldn't agree more.
In so many different ways, because he's become a powerful example for so many people. And telling his story, because there's young people out there that are struggling, and they hear Kevin talk about, young hockey player talking about it, and they're thinking, oh God, I did a line of coke the other night, and I did this, and I wanted this, and they can identify with him and relate to him, and go to him if they need help.
Yeah, and I think it is true. Winning those Stanley Cups were great and everything, and God kept me here for a reason. We all say this, we shouldn't be here, whatever, but it's part of my story, and I'm here. And the best thing about what I really have to do when I get in front of people and talk about it, I just tell the truth. And it's so easy for me to share my story. The hardest thing was maybe being able to do it for the first, get in front of it and get it out there. But what I learned is that for me to stay sober, I need help from other people that are trying to do the same thing I'm doing. And that's how I stay sober one day at a time. I hang around people that are trying to do the same thing I do, and I'm able to do that a day at a time. And with all the people I talk to and stuff like that, you talk to people, even the people, I've sat in those auditoriums with people, and the people that don't want to hear the story, I sat there and say, I don't want to listen to, that don't want to hear it, they hear something. Like someone hears something that even though they don't want to hear it.
Right.
And that's the most important thing for me is when I speak to and sometimes there's a lot of people, the people that don't want to hear something. They might be the quiet person that, something's happening at their home that they hear something. Because I've had people come up to me afterward and say stuff like that. And that's why you go there, right?
Sure.
You go there to maybe help that one person that's really, shy and doesn't want to say anything. And they come back and they tell you that something's happening at their house. So it's nice, but all I have to do is tell the truth. It might not happen to anybody that I'm talking to, but this is what happened to me.
Right.
But it's going to help somebody.
Yeah, it always helps.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone has something, like you said, a little piece of your
something they can relate to in their life, and the minute they do, that's that light bulb that goes off.
Nice.
Power Forward 25, that's the result of those years of addiction. Tell everybody what that is.
Yeah, that's our foundation. My sister and I kind of put together. She's the big. I just show up places. She does most of all the work. Thank God.
Behind every great man is a fabulous woman.
It's so lucky. She kind of retired when I was kind of get sober, and that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. The timing of it was kind of and she kind of stepped in and said, "Let's try to do something." We talked about what we could do, and we formed Power Forward 25, which is we help people in sober house living, like people that go to treatment. I always thought the hardest time is when you go to treatment, you're locked up, it's okay. Like when you get out, where are you going to go?
Right.
You can't go back to the same place you were at. It never works, right? And a lot of people lose everything. When they go into treatment, they don't have anything left. So we give people 6 to 8 weeks of housing so they can go into a sober house and try to get their life back together. And we pay for them to go to a sober house. So I thought that was a big part of people's recovery. So for me, it was the hardest time. So I thought this was the best thing we could do, and we put it together, and it's been great. We've helped a lot of people, so we're moving forward with it. So
it's so important to have this, Kevin's organization, because, like Kevin said, you get out of detox. It's a very fragile time for a person. This might be the first time in their life that they've been away from drugs and alcohol, and to be able to continue their recovery in a safe setting is so important because a lot of times, as Kevin knows, people come out of detox, they hit the street, and they're off and running again.
Sure.
And they might not get back.
Right.
And this gives them an opportunity to get some more foundation under them.
Yeah. It's so much about the support around you, right?
Yeah.
So much.
That's like Marty said, that's a very crucial time when you get out because where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
Right.
And you get to go into these sober houses with 15 other men or 15 other women. So you have the support around you all the time.
You guys also have a really cool program related to dogs.
Yeah.
Now, I want to hear about that program. And where did you come up with this idea?
The dog thing was something that Dr. Mike, one of the guys that works with us, he works at St. Elizabeth. He came up with this idea that let's try dogs in the sober house because dogs. Everybody loves a dog. Everybody loves a pet. And it gives the people in the sober house the ability to care for someone or to care for you got to take care of the dog. So you got to kind of have, and dogs is everybody's friend, Yep. So we decided to say, okay, let's put these dogs in these sober houses and see how it all works. And it's worked great. It's one of those ideas when you come up with it, you're like, is this, let's see what happens and see how this all goes. But people really draw to there's people that, like I said, there's people that don't really know how to interact with people, and this dog brings them that comfort, and they can take the dog for walks, and they can, it just opens up their brain a little bit, and then because when you do drugs, as Marty knows, when you're out there for a long time, you shut down a lot of things, a lot of things your life just changes a lot, and I think it's been interesting. It's been great. It's worked, and people seem to like it. So we just keep kind of do it, see what happens.
I love that. I like that concept.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, it gives you. I'm sure it gives some of these people a sense of responsibility.
Yeah,
and
they do.
You need a sense of responsibility, a reason to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Right?
No question. When your dog's barking in the morning, you got to get up. You got no choice. So but it's been really good.
Kevin, your story is amazing. It really is. And boy, you're right. The accolades for hockey are really terrific, but what it is that you're doing now is just, you're saving lives, and that makes a difference in the world. It really, really does. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you very much.
If people want to know more about the organization, they can go to the website,
right?
They
can go to power forward25.com, and They can just anything they put on there, we get. And
you guys have a bunch of events coming up. I
Yeah.
know.
yeah, we got a gala coming up this summer. We got a hockey. We're doing a hockey thing in July where we're kind of we're calling it the Recovery Cup. So we have a lot of stuff going on there. So it's all on the website. So
Super.
it's all good, and just trying to do it a day at a time and trying to help people and see what happens. It's all good stuff. But
You're out there speaking everywhere, which is
Yeah.
great. I know. I know you've got some speaking engagements right here in the area in the next couple of months.
The speaking thing's important. Like I said before, the speaking's important because you get the people that don't want to hear it. You get the people that you maybe, they don't want to really even hear you. So that's important to me, is like to get to the schools and talk to people and the awareness, because it really is about a choice, and you're going to have that choice. You're going to have that decision, right? It really comes down to what decision you're going to make. And now, as Marty knows, we all know, it's life and death. It's not like when we were growing up, I didn't have to worry about anything, but you worry about it. But now, I have a 28-year-old, I have a 27, I have a 25-year-old. I have to talk to those, my kids, and they know it's you can't make a bad choice these days. You can't make one bad choice.
Yeah. Bad choices lead to some really bad consequences.
No
that
question.
is for certain. Hockey. Do you stay involved?
Yeah, I still work with the Penguins, so it's we're trying to get over the hump again. We won some cups for the last 10 or 15. We had some great players, but I work with the Penguins. I'll be in here tonight watching the VCBU Beanpot game.
Yeah.
So it's all good. I love hockey's really the only thing I know besides this thing here, telling the truth about it, but the hockey part of it's pretty easy. It's great to watch. I watch a lot of college games, so it's
Super.
nice.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Kevin, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Continued
Appreciate it.
success.
Thank you.
We hope that everything goes well. All right, everybody. This is Kerrigan and Company. Winter's dry air can certainly take the glow out of your skin. I know it does mine. That's why I'm headed to see my friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly. They offer a hydrofacial that's non-invasive and delivers instant results for all skin types with no downtime. It combines cleansing, hydration, and nourishment for a radiant complexion. Their hydrofacial removes dead skin cells and extracts impurities while simultaneously delivering cleansing, hydrating, and moisturizing serum. If you're looking for immediate glow without an irritation, set up an appointment today. Go to siennaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Well, it's that time of the show when we always wrap things up. Marty Walsh has been keeping me company today. This has been fun.
It's been great.
This has been really informative, actually, I have to tell you. Kevin is amazing. That's an amazing guest, and I'm glad he could come in.
No,
Share his story.
He's a special person.
Yeah, he really is. Hey, Marty, before you go, though, we do this thing. It's called College Hype Fast 5. You might know our friends over at College Hype.
Oh, they're great. Jack Doherty, he's the best. He's the best.
Don't drop his name. His ego is just getting so big. Please.
No, he's the best.
So it's rapid fire questions.
Oh, good.
Okay, we have 5 of them. And we'd like you to answer them in 30 seconds. I might give you just a little extra time because I'm going to ask you a couple that might take a little bit longer. College Hype, making a difference, one T-shirt at a time. Visit collegehype.com today. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm going to try.
All right, here we go. Best day as mayor of Boston.
Marathon Monday, the year after the bombing. It was just so emotional, incredible to see people run across the finish line for the causes they did.
Toughest day as mayor of Boston.
And a couple of them where young people were killed in the city through different. One young boy drowned, another young boy was shot by a bullet. Very difficult days. They were 6 and 8.
If something breaks at home, do you call an expert to fix it, or do you fix it yourself?
Depends on what it is. Plumber, electrician, carpenter, painter, they all come in.
Should The Road Runner by Jonathan Richman be the official rock song of Massachusetts?
Listen, I filed that bill. It got me a lot of press, and the answer is yes. I don't know. I got a lot of trouble for that one.
I had to go back and listen to it. I didn't even know what we were talking about.
I got a lot of trouble for that one.
And finally, the last question. Are you running for governor?
Oh, God. No, Maura Healey is. I think she said the other day. The governor is. The governor's running for re-election, she's telling us.
Will you ever run for governor?
You can never rule anything out, but I don't know. We'll see. I can't rule anything out, but I'm not being dodgy on that. I love my job, what I have right now, and it's just who knows. I mean, I've been out of elected office now for a long time, almost 5 years, so it's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think people have a pretty good idea who you are here in the state.
I think they do.
Hey, listen, continued success. This has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad that you came in.
Oh,
It's
this has been
great
great
to see you.
Thank you.
Great to see you. I said to Marty right off the bat, I have not seen him since he finally got married. We were all like, what is going on
we tried to not have it a story, and then, oh my God, it was on the TV, on the radio.
Right. Right.
People I work with now say, are they ever going to leave you alone in Boston? I'm like, never.
You and Lori, she was the first girlfriend for a long time, and we're
she's
glad
awesome.
that she's
great. She stood by me my whole time for a long time. But as mayor of Boston, she went through a lot of ups and downs with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Labor secretary. She's an amazing person.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to you coming up on 1 year, and continued success with the Players Association.
Thank you.
It looks like it's going well, and they're lucky to have Marty Walsh. That's for sure.
Thank you, Kim.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for being a part of the show today. Be sure that you check it out on YouTube. And when you do, be sure you subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks everybody for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.